Hello and welcome to this week's probably very lengthy chat, knowing us three, about RuPaul's Drag Race. So this is the USA version, and I've lost what episode number we're up to. I've got no idea anymore. Five. It was the disco one.
No, it's the sixth.
It's six.
Episode, yeah.
There we go. So it's the one where they did the disco challenge. If you haven't seen them do the disco challenge, bugger off and come back when you have, or you'll get spoilers. So let's just talk briefly on the disco challenge then, before we go on to the looks and my incredibly bad notes I've made. So massive fan of disco, not just the Kylie Minogue album or the Kylie Minogue track Your Disco Needs You, which is the best song in the entire world ever. But I'm a fan of the music. I was, as you would have been, a sort of small child during the disco era.
Where you was going about for a second.
I'm now not sure where you think I might have been going with that. I remember disco being in the charts. I remember on a Sunday night, you get thrown in the bath at 5 o'clock, come back down for tea, because all my family lived in one house. It was me, my mum, my nan and granddad, my uncle, and our lodger, who became my stepfather. How did that happen? But he died in 1985, so hey. And I know. So basically we would all sit around the table for tea and listen to what my nan used to call Top of the Pops. Used to confuse the hell out of me because it was a Radio 1 chart. Top of the Pops was a program on Thursday nights. I never got it, but that was my nan for you. And I used to insist on dressing up as Wendy from Peter Pan and dancing along to Summer Nights from Greece, but I would only act out Olivia Newton-John's parts. So that's the kind of era we're talking about. So I remember disco happening. I remember my uncle would have been 24, 25 and single. So he was going out to the nightclubs. He wasn't a disco person per se. He was more of a kind of rock guy. He was into Queen and Black Sabbath and that kind of stuff. But it was happening around me. So I've kind of got this awareness of it. And I kind of gutted I missed it. I would have loved to have been in New York in the late 70s going to Studio 54. I would never have lived to see 2021. It has to be said. I know how my life would have gone, but it's one of the great eras. I would, on that big what if, the doctor comes into my life tomorrow and says, "All the time and space, where do you want to go?" I'm like, Studio 54 and have a concert. And probably disappointed massively, like, all the time and space, and do you want to go there? Yes. So I was fascinated by this, and I think it was, on the whole, disco as seen from today and not authentic disco at all.
Obviously, I didn't grow up in that time, and I'm a 2000s baby, as they say. So I grew up with S Club 7 and all that jazz. So I saw disco as I see on TV all the time.
Yeah,
like you said. But the way that obviously we saw photographs when Ru was, dubbing over the top of what disco used to be. And I feel like the Queen should have been shown those pictures so they could have got more inspiration than wearing or what we typically think as a bodysuit or tight trousers with flares and an afro.
Yeah.
That's disco, but there were so many other things that come under the umbrella of disco that is not all afros and flares.
No, exactly. It's not a stereotype. It has become one. But actually, at the time, there would have been way more. Different cat has now just settled on my notes again. Ace, I need the pad, sweetie. Thank you, darling.
I would say though, I've lost the thought. They'll come back to me.
Okay, fine. It'll reoccur.
Welcome.
Yeah.
The cat's fault.
Hey, damn you. The disco challenge. It was okay. It was okay. I didn't love it like I've loved some of the other similar challenges across the years where they've done. Like when they do the Rusicals, for example. I think the Rusicals tend to.
The Rusicals can be very hit and miss, but when they hit, they tend to really hit.
The Madonna one, amazing.
My favorite was the Madonna one, and when they did Ru Vegas with last season, and they had like the show that I have in Las Vegas, but all those girls, and I like that one. But those are the only two that I've really, really liked. The rest are like,
yeah. The best thing about the Trump one was Ginger Mean Jazz Trump. That was that was class.
They should have had the Viv.
Yeah,
you know,
I think
it's
before the Viv, though, isn't it? I think it predates the Viv. So, but that was
yeah.
So when we came to the looks, was it what was it disco for the looks?
No, it was Little Black Dress.
Little Black Dress.
Little Black Dress.
It was. So Tina Burner had a little black dress with handprints and flames on the bottom. Now,
and handprints on the
arms, which I thought was cute. That's all.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away by it. No.
It's it wasn't really a black dress to me.
No.
It was, when you think of a little black dress, it's normally like fully black with a bit of rhinestones and, you know, like a cute little.
Victoria Beckham. It's that look. You know, that's the little black dress look.
Yeah.
But the only thing I will say is in the Untucked stuff, I kept thinking that was genuinely I sat with her hands like this, handprints.
Yeah.
And I kept getting confused that her hands would then appear. Like, oh, she's got 4 hands. But yeah, it wasn't. I think Tina's got a slightly bigger opinion of herself than she's delivered so far.
I will say that commented on her outfit for the disco was amazing.
Oh, she had the shimmery, yeah.
Again, and one of the things that kind of annoys me about Tina, which is why, and also again, it's one of the things where she kind of hasn't been read for, is that Tina has a color scheme, which is, you know, the yellow and the red. For the most part, you know, she pretty much always does the yellow and the red. It's just like, use some other colors. Yes, we get it. It's your trademark style. Every drag queen that goes on there, you know, has some kind of trademark style, whether it's being the weird queen or, you know, a particular style, whatever. And they usually end up getting red for it, or at least get told, yeah, really good, but show us something else. Show us that you
give us more.
In science, obviously, she's meant to be a Bunsen burner, Tina Burner. That's what I've got from it. So fire can be so many different colors, and I feel like she's just going with the ordinary red,
yellow.
Orange, yellow. Where you could have a blue fire with like all the, you know, the blue, like the blue shades, the whites.
Yeah.
I just feel like she looked good in those colors.
Yeah.
I don't think she looks good in orange, red, or yellow.
No, it's not
at all.
It's all a bit like, oh.
To be fair, I think very few people look good in those as a combo. I think you do have to have a either very specific aesthetic or possibly very specific build as well, like depending on the style you're going for. And it doesn't work for Tina.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Paul. I'm laughing at the cat. I just saw his eyes just pop up on the screen.
The bottom. It was just ace from the nose up. The face, because he was scratching, he was pulling that face. And you were obviously pretty oblivious of it. Tom was trying not to lose it. Oh, bless you, Ace. Thank you for
I will agree with the judges though that the hair, compared to the other hairstyle she's had in the last couple of episodes, they've been really good. But this week on the runway, it just seemed like a shake and go Party City wig that she just flopped on. Like there was no drag to it. Like she could have done like the big like poofy thing like she normally does. The side parting. But where was that? It just seemed a little bit. I think she put so much effort into her, like the wet paint. That I just thought, you know, she put more effort into a look which wasn't the theme, basically.
Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah, if she'd come up on the runway, I know it wasn't gonna be a little black dress, but for an equivalent challenge in that shimmery disco outfit, you'd have walked away with the prize that week, I think, because again, it was one of the, it's that detail thing. So it's a, you see that dress and it's alive and it's moving, because you only got to move a tiny bit for all of that to really shimmer and come alive and dance, you know. It's the, I always think of it as Tina Turner. I'm sure that's not
Oh God, no, that's absolutely.
So, shall we get on to Hannah and ask if we can steal a couple of bodysuits to, you know, jazzle up for Panto this year?
Yeah, because I'd wear that in Panto quite happily, quite happily. Even if I walk on, shimmy it and walk off, I'm happy.
Just walk on, and be like, wrong outfit, and then sort of walk back.
Oh, wrong show, and go. There's a joke in that for the script. We'll find that. We'll make that happen.
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Is this not the disco audition?
Is it? So then after Tina was Candy, and I've put paper canvas painted. What? It was horrendous. She wasn't, again, maybe editing, but she wasn't read for the atrocity she wore, as far as I could see. She's got some sort of past that I don't understand.
Or she got dirt on the judges.
I did like the concept.
Concept,
I really did.
Yes. Execution,
I thought it would.
what the fuck?
Yeah, I just thought it looked a bit like a blob on a white canvas.
I have zero art skills. Zero, right? I cannot, when I'm trying to cut wrapping paper to wrap Christmas presents, cut it in a straight line. I could have made that dress. The concept was brilliant. The whole, you know, it was like that was a cut-out dress.
And the style of the black dress, and I'm just like, okay.
It was all about proportion as well, because she had the slick back hair with the oil in the fringe and stuff. I just thought it made her just look like a ball, because there was no volume on top, or on bottom. It was just a flumpy mess.
Yeah,
but yeah, it could have been pulled in somewhere, could have been done better.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to do a canvas, why not then paint the Princess Di gorgeous, immaculate figure and give yourself a proper hourglass or whatever, or really, you know, a size 0 body, and wear the whole frame. You know, be a head on top and feet sticking out of a picture frame.
Yeah,
because then
that would have been good.
It's what they do with Lego minifigures, isn't it? So if you look at a Lego minifigure, they paint the female curves into the block. It took me about 5 years, 25 years to work that out. But once I got it, and funny enough, it was with Catwoman, who is actually up on the shelf behind us.
I was today years old when.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. It was only in recent years I sussed that out, and I was like, I get that now. So yeah, so I think at the moment, as much as she sort of redeemed herself a little bit, and we still had the roll on of the bloody argument from the week before with Tamisha. Child, let it go, right? You ain't all that. You were never in the top 3, even when you thought you were.
But then again, neither was Tamisha.
No, to be fair, she wasn't either. I do like Tamisha though. But handy.
18 years, there may be some controversy ahead.
There might be. So Gottmik and Gottmik's naked look.
Loved it.
Loved it.
We loved it.
What a clever and brave idea. Just, you know, phenomenal.
It's just reminded me of what's the name? Valentina and also Violet Chachki. They both did stuff like that, but
yeah.
Gottmik just
Carmen Carrera used to do a lot of naked stuff, but with like long hair and try and be all like sort of some sort of weird J-Lo Cindy Crawford figure and you know whatever. But this for me was nailed. And what I loved was the fact that it quite clearly was a whole dress. It had little sleeves and everything. But you wouldn't necessarily, again, it required that second look to get the full detail. And it was Untucked where she got the phone call, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Tom, you won't have seen this. In Untucked, she got a video phone call from her parents, who used, I should say, his new given name of Cade. which apparently that was the first time. So it was
Oh,
lovely. And the parents, to be fair, come across as wonderful people. That's not unattractive, let me just say.
trust you to point that out, Paul.
Well, obviously, it's going to be me. And I also thought it had a very nice mantelpiece, but that's by the by. I'm not talking about the den. I'm genuinely talking about the mantelpiece over their fireplace. So that was a lovely moment as well for Gottmik, I think. And it's a shame that gets relegated to Untucked, because in America, you know, if you watch one, you watch the other. The rest of the world, not so much. So I think it's unfortunate that what's the very validating moment in Gottmik's life has kind of been sidelined internationally. But it's difficult to say too much about the outfit because there was so little of it. But what little there was absolutely brilliant.
I just find it like that she had a dress on, and that dress was so detailed, even though it was tiny. She still put all the effort into this dress, even though she couldn't wear it like fully.
Yeah,
which I loved.
Yeah, well, there's a similar comment coming, isn't there, about that? But so then we had Elliot with 2 T's, and all I've written is very dynasty. Oh, I'm American suddenly. We don't say dynasty, we say dynasty. Cape and gold lame.
I liked it.
I remember the cape. I can't think of the dress.
I would say it's probably a custom-made evening gown. Essentially, is how I kind of took it.
Is it very catwalk? Am I thinking of the right thing?
I suppose it depends on what you think of
it. It was very off the rack, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like the dress, not the cape. The cape was stunning, but the dress was very off the rack.
Yeah. It's probably why I don't remember it, because I've just walked past it in Tesco's.
Maybe not Tesco's.
Possibly. Maybe M&S.
When was I last in House of Fraser? Do you know when I go to House of Fraser? When Dean takes me Christmas shopping.
When was the last time you went walking through women's evening wear?
I don't know, because you're not allowed. It's in lockdown, and it's non-essential items. I can't remember.
He's getting some influence for Panto. Okay, he wants to choose out his outfits before he gets on stage. That's all it is.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. I've got an ugly sister to design this year. I don't know what it is. Yeah. So then we had Tamisha, and I've just written down Diane Carroll, who was a character in Dynasty. Well, no, actually, Diane Carroll was a real person. She played a character in Dynasty called Dominique Devereux, and that's exactly what Tamisha said she was aiming for, and that's what I got. Unfortunately, it just wasn't special. It was lovely. It was posh, and it was going to a very nice ball or something. Neoprene. I mean, to be fair, neoprene is a twat to work with. They make wetsuits out of neoprene, not dresses. So I think that's commendable. But I just don't think, until Michelle mentioned it, I hadn't clocked. It could have been any material. I hadn't clocked the neoprene at all. So that was obviously probably a naked eye thing, or the fact that Michelle knows her shit a bit more than I do.
Either are equally possible.
Yeah.
The problem I had with it is she came down the runway and she looked stunning.
Yeah.
And then she turned, and all I could see was chicken with a massive chest and some little skinny legs, and I was just like, why has she made that shape? Like, it's not even sucked in. It just does that, and I'm like, there's no shape. That's why I didn't like it, because there was no shape.
There are theories going around, or rather, I've seen comments that the reason she was sent home is because she revealed the fact that she had the colostomy bag. And although it's not publicly said, but behind the scenes they all went, "Oh, that's a health hazard. We can't really keep her on the show." And suddenly she's gone, which would make sense. I mean, isn't it? We'll never know, because there's a law case if they ever admit it, so they can't. Unless they've been honest.
Well, no, there isn't, because she made the whole point of saying that she kept it hidden. So there's no lawsuit in it for them, because they can just go, well, we were not made aware of this.
I did think she saw it coming, though, because considering how much the competition meant to her, she didn't shed a tear, and she just seemed very straight faced, and she's like, "Oh, okay, it's fine."
Yeah. I did, however, think she won the lip sync in my mind.
Yeah.
Candy didn't even appear to know all the words. There were moments where Candy wasn't actually lip syncing, and it wasn't necessarily a performance choice. I don't think there's many times in a lip sync that your performance choice can be not to lip sync.
Apart from Valentina, but
That's a whole other.
that's another story.
But that's just I haven't learned the words because I think I'm beyond this.
I don't think that either of them were good at the lip sync.
You did say, are they both going to get sent home?
I think it's elimination.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be because of what who said it? I think it was I don't know. One of them said, "Oh, it could be a triple in the bottom, and two of you might be sent home." And then I was like, "Oh, okay." So they've pointed towards it. Maybe it could actually happen.
Yeah, it's because I think when they were talking obviously about the challenge, because obviously they were paired up, and then because Gottmik won the mini challenge, Gottmik got to pick who should.
Oh yes, so they were three, weren't they?
So
yes.
There was the whole thing of, what is it? Against each other, which of course would then mean with the trio that presumably one of them would win and the other two would have to lip sync, or all three of them would be lip syncing, and they could all potentially head off. So there was all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, personally, I love it as a person. I don't think Felicia's drag is particularly groundbreaking. It's very
generational,
very pageant. It doesn't really push any sort of drag frontiers like say someone like Sasha Velour was, or a whole bunch of other queens sort of before Sasha. But she's absolutely a survivor, a fighter. I've got a lot of respect for what Tamisha has been through as a person. Kind of linked to what we were saying before, the fact that unlike a lot of other queens that we have seen on the show, where it's basically, oh no, I can't do this dance challenge because I've got weak ankles, because I've got this, because I've got X, I've got Y. Never, outside of the fact that obviously she said, I'm recovering from cancer. Cancer. So the chemotherapy, the radiotherapy, where she was basically, from what I gather, essentially had to learn how to walk again.
Yeah.
So she's like, yes, I'm rusty, but I will still do it. She at no point, because it was the big reveal towards throughout the show, was she hadn't told anyone that she had an ostomy. So she's basically dancing around with essentially an open wound. Yes, it's all sealed and attached to sort of bags and everything. But not once was that actually used as an excuse for why she can't do this, or why she can't do a pirouette or anything like that.
A hula hoop.
Yeah, it was literally,
and that would have been painful.
Yeah,
that action would have been extremely painful for her.
Her whole dance was too busy focused that I deserve to be read for that. It's like, no, you actually should have probably told the judges that you've got a fucking open wound. So doing this kind of gesturing is basically putting pressure on that wound. So yeah, I've got a lot of time for Tamisha for that alone. But from a competition perspective, yeah, she was someone who deserved to go home, but not over Candy Muse. They should absolutely both have been sent home for that lip sync. And I stand by that.
Like I like Candy. I really do. And I've liked her from the start. Maybe not her style, but I do actually like her as a person. She doesn't come across as bitchy. She's just trying to be funny. And because she's a big girl, big girls normally they have to be the comedy ones because they've got nothing else going for them. I haven't said that, but other people have. But that's why I like her, because she comes across funny to me rather than bitchy.
Yeah.
And it's just going under, like, it's just people are not seeing the funny side. They're just seeing her attack.
Yeah.
Their drag and stuff. But that's why I like Candy. But they still should have gone home.
Yeah, with Candy, you can tell that she's I mean, she's not a bad person by any stretch. You know, she has got a bit of heart to her. I think Candy's problem is, and I think she kind of touched on it a little bit herself, is she's kind of almost becoming this weird vicious circle of sending up her own stereotype. She's becoming a caricature of herself. That's a very brilliant way to put it. Thank you. So essentially, she's hood and ghetto because she's from like the Bronx or wherever, or I can't remember where she said she was from, but you know, another sort of rougher part of upper New York or whatever it is. Geography not a strong. Strength? What's a strength? Not strong. Anyway, moving on. So
that's what they feel in the Bronx. they don't feel strength. They feel strong.
That's what happens if you're from the project or wherever you're from. And so yeah, so basically, I do think she is becoming, and you know, it's been sent up by many of the satirical kind of things. You know, I know Drawn Together did it, American Dad's done it, but that whole like stereotype, and I think
with the long nails, the big hoops.
Yeah. And I think poor old Candy is kind of fallen into that and is now going end over end over end and becoming a more bigger and bigger and bigger version of actually what she is somewhere deep inside. And if she would just show her vulnerability, I think she'd break through. But yeah, so
that Dorothy from Golden Girls moment was brought to you courtesy of him and the letter V.
Picture it, the Bronx. Oh God. But no, genuinely, I think she kind of needs to just bring herself back down to herself. Is the best way to describe it. But also, I just, you know,
I think a bit busted. I think as well, again, to be fair to Candy, because it kind of comes out in some of her talking heads where it's very much, and kind of Tom sort of touched on it as well with the comment about how, you know, fat girls are expected to be X.
Yeah,
because
they
can't be Y.
That's a perpetuated stereotype again.
Yeah, and then it's sort of some of the talking heads that Candy herself has done. She very much, you know, had to deal with that sort of throughout sort of, you know, life, career, you know, sort of status as a drag performer. So, you know, I think she had to be a very in-your-face, combative, no, fuck you, I'm doing it this way because me, in terms of her sort of approach. But the problem is that when she's kind of taken away from that, or doesn't necessarily need to be quite so combative, she's not used to that. So it's almost like her initial reaction to someone making a joke or whatever is to basically, you know, 0 to 100 in 3 seconds flat and go straight for the jugular because it's automatically perceived as being an attack when it's, you know, just, you know, sort of queens being queens together sort of thing.
Feeling very attacked.
Yes, exactly. But without the bullshit that went with that particular phrase.
With that queen. Fucking hated her.
And I think if she kind of just sort of realised that it's actually okay to maybe sort of say, yes, I didn't do as well in that as perhaps the other queens did, and that's not a personal failing. That's not you actually then confirming what all of the naysayers have actually said about you. It's, and again, this is possibly the difference between you know, American and British, which is, you know, we tend to, again, the stereotype is that, you know, Brits are very self-deprecating and we just tend to be like down on ourselves right from the word go, and Americans are just like, you know, no, it's good, say it's good, you know, it's okay to take pride in your accomplishments. But it's kind of finding that happy medium in between the two, which is that, yeah, you are not, you know, king shit at everything you do, Candy. Frankly, acting like you are all the time just basically, to a certain extent, comes across as being a bit disingenuous and just makes it look like you're up your own arse. And unfortunately does tend to then, I think, reinforce some of the stereotypes, which is you actually, you know, you can't do what you're doing, you are just full of shit. And that's not fair to you, because I think there is some absolute talent there. but it's having that ability, and it kind of got touched on with, I think, sort of the conversation to sort of in this episode with her and Tamisha, with the whole, it's okay to sort of, you are actually allowed to get, criticism. A criticism is not the same as an attack. A lot of criticism, a lot of attacks get sort of hidden as criticisms, and you should absolutely come down on that. But it's actually okay to say, no, you didn't do this particularly well because you should have done maybe do this, do less makeup, do more of this, do less. That's not someone having an attack on you as a person or a performer. It's basically stuff you sort of think, maybe this is something that you could use to sort of, improve your own skills and your own sort of persona in terms of how you come across. And I think Candy just hasn't, and again, I think Candy, I think, is quite a young queen as well. I think it could just be that, Candy hasn't been exposed to enough of that kind of positive criticism to say, this will make things go better, that she isn't used to getting that, so everything is just an attack for her, and she responds accordingly and doesn't really as a result.
As we were talking about Tamisha, let's move on to Olivia Lux.
Which one's she again?
Olivia Lux had corsets and...
Oh, was that the one with the little handbag?
And a Madonna.
Yes.
Yeah, she had it was basically, again, I think it was very bought in Tesco. It's a bought in Tesco corset. She went down to La Senza, basically.
And didn't get red for it, which really surprised me.
Really surprised me. Yeah. I mean,
and they were like, oh, that hair is everything.
Yeah.
It just looked like a stiff front lace to me with like a little overflow.
Yeah.
No.
It looked more molded than styled.
Yeah.
I have very little to say about this outfit apart from the basque sort of reminded me of 1987 Madonna. So after that was our little favourite, Utica. Utica.
Utica Queen.
And it was, how did this not win? How did this not win? Now, I understand.
They didn't get it.
Well, they're fucking thick. I understand. Sorry, best friend Michelle, but what were you thinking?
And actually, you do want to get Tom's opinion on this one as well.
Yeah, we both mentioned this. Right, so the thing for me was, I understand them not getting the earring. I didn't get the earring, and I understand why that's a bit of a read and a mark down. Because if it needs explaining, that's a problem. But if it looks that good, does it matter if there's that layer you didn't get to it?
If anybody who's watching this is familiar with my TikTok, they know that I support small businesses in buying unique earrings. And when I saw these earrings, I was like, I have to have them. And I instantly saw that she was the earring, like she was head to toe the earring. And then when she turned and I saw the hook, I was like, I need this outfit too. It's just a giant earring. I need it. Give it to me. But yeah, one thing I will say though, didn't like the gold all over the body.
Right.
I just feel like sometimes they can be a bit tacky and a bit robot.
Yeah.
The
thing that jarred on the gold for me was it was gold glitter face, so that obviously looks textured because glitter's hundreds and thousands of tiny little smash bits of glass. I mean, not glass, but whereas it was a smooth arm because obviously it was a latex glove. And to me, it was a glitter that if you're going to glitter that, or smooth that and smooth that. The two together, it made me think that's not your arm because it doesn't match your face. And that was my only criticism, and it's a reasonably minor one. I cannot understand why she's not winning challenges.
I can. The only thing I will say, because I kind of, so again, I think this does actually come down to a personal style choice, but she also did, to be, because again, disco outfit, I loved her disco outfit. It reminded me.
Big blonde hair?
No, it was the outfit
orange down to her knees.
of what
hair.
Right.
wore, I think, in last week's episode, which was that kind of styled sort of black and white
Yeah,
monochrome outfit.
yeah, okay.
But she got red because it was, from the judge's perspective, you know, a British audience would understand it as like, it was quite a gurning performance. It was all like the very exaggerated drag, like type stuff.
It was what?
I'm not doing it again. It's on there. You can watch it back if you're that desperate to see it. I'm not falling for that. But she basically got told, you know, that yes, not everything needs to be a campy, comedic, over the top drag performance. And much as it annoys me, I kind of agree with that, because I think, in all fairness, if you're going to do that, then, you know, go full comedy. You know, make sure you're bringing some extra comedy with it. Don't just, you know, do the facial expressions. You know, like, it works in certain lip syncs where it's just you and the attention's on you, and you can normally kind of sort of build on it with either, you know, with either other body gestures, or you're doing something related to the song that you're lip syncing to. I think in the disco performance, it didn't work. It did just, she did come across as a bit clowny, and kind of not within sort of the spirit of the piece, essentially. But my God, loved the disco outfit, adored the runway outfit. And again, I think this is going to be another one where we're seeing a weird / comedy queen being overlooked for a lot of it, because it's not ticking certain boxes among the judging panel.
This is where I was, when Sasha Velour won, she never won a challenge all the way through, and she had the best style all the way through the series. She was always getting praised for like the outfit she was wearing. She never won a single challenge, but then she won the final,
Yeah.
So I got a feeling that Utica might get all the way to the top, but might fail, or she could win. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
but she's going to be.
You had a similar journey last year for no. Crystal Method
last year. Crystal, yeah, she was my favorite all the way through. But yeah, and I don't agree with Jada Essence Hall winning, because she did like in lip sync in a living room. Just nothing there. It was just her sitting down, standing up.
Yeah, that should 100% have been usually good. I said Holly Good. I don't know if she is, made her up. Possibly an available drag name if anyone wants that. Holly Good, off you go. But yeah, no, she's been Gigi Good for that Wizard of Oz thing. That's all I'm saying. So yes, I mean, come on, if you come out as your own earring and you're wearing yourself, it suddenly becomes one of those,
complete with the ear hook.
Yeah, it's almost like some sort of drag infinity mirror. I mean, it's just what a concept. Who ever thought of that? Well, she thought of that.
And it's clever. Because again, I think that's the thing that annoys me about sort of not about Utica, but about how Utica is perceived on the show. Which is, you take someone like Gottmik, who again, you know, I do absolutely love, is absolutely on the ball when it comes to fashion, and gets routinely praised by the judges for that. Utica, I think, because I think Gottmik is very much, you know, a fashion queen sort of all the time. You know, she portrays herself as a fashion queen. You know, she certainly sort of sees, I think, the drag strengths as being that. Utica is very much a weird / comedy queen, but she has the same fashion sensibilities as an actual designer type like Gottmik, but gets overlooked for it. You know, we talked last week about, you know, sort of what Utica did with a fucking sleeping bag. She made a sleeping bag high fashion. Complete with the whole, this wouldn't have been out of place on something like Fifth Element as like a futuristic.
It was Project Runway level shit. It was fantastic,
amazing.
I just the photos she posted on Instagram as well. I don't know if you saw them, with the woodland and the fog. I was just like, I need it. Like, it's just so stunning. Like, to create that on Drag Race with the time constraints she had as well. And it was so form fit into the body, and they were so like well sewn. I was just like, this is the best thing I've seen on Drag Race in a sewing challenge ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's inspired me to think, I've got a sewing machine that's been sat under this very table for 3 years, unopened. Long story. It was meant for curtains, but it's not those kitchen curtains, and that still don't exist. And I am just so tempted to go, I could learn, because maybe I could come up with something like that. I doubt it. I am not very good at anything. You know, I'm a good performer, and I'm a good ideas person, and I'm a good writer. Anything as soon as my fingers are involved, forget it. I'm terrible. Even right down to writing, awful. But as in like actual handwriting. I think you see that. Terrible. But it's inspired me to actually go, well, I'll give it a go. And whenever I get some time in 2029, probably something like that, I will give it a go. If the machine still works on, just
take a minute to know how much stress you would take from the what's the name? June and June. The sew-in gods of
our lovely costume ladies from pantomime.
But just imagine how much stress would be taken off them if you did start to sew your own panto outfits.
Yeah. If we could make our own outfits, it'd be amazing. And also, we'd just turn up with things, and whether or not they were sanctioned by Hayley suddenly wouldn't matter.
Like the wigs that I will be creating this year.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, which reminds me, I've got a thought on a wig. Slip side, like viewers, you can be part of this. It's okay. So
a little bit of a spoiler. Mind you, if you're in England, you can't really come and see it. But
so basically, what I was thinking is, we've got this. Chocolates came in, and I thought you could make it as like a headpiece and attach wigs to it, and then you've just got like volume to the hair. I've no idea.
I was thinking more of a what do you call them? A fascinator, and wear it here, and have like big purple feathers coming out the back.
Oh, I love that.
Final walk downs. That's big feathers.
Well, it's always a wedding, the walk down, isn't it? So that'd be perfect.
The boas, these, I'm going to make these for panto as well.
Oh, now, see those boas, tell everyone what they're made of, Tom.
Hang on, let me get it off the stand. I don't know if you hear me over the rustling.
We can, yeah, it's not too loud, actually.
Okay, so these are actually made out of plastic bags tied to a string. And it's for an upcoming show.
We can't mention the title of yet. Secret show we're in.
But yeah, it's made out of plastic bags. Bit of a recycling queen, but fashionable as well.
No, when I saw the photograph, because obviously I was on the Zoom call where you were kind of tasked with making one, and I just thought, okay, that's going to be interesting. And then when you posted the photograph of it, I genuinely could not, even though I knew, I couldn't in my head link it to the plastic bags and the method you used to create it. Genuinely, I was like, that is phenomenal. I cannot my head can't take the product and the brilliant though. I mean, fantastic for like a 40p roll of bin bags or whatever it was. Amazing. Anyway,
free,
so back to
actually government free.
Oh, good.
Recycling bags.
Perhaps we shouldn't mention we're doing that with them. They're the free ones.
It's being recycled as high fashion.
It's recycled as high fashion.
Yes.
Yeah, council judging us.
Reusable fashion.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
And we bring money into your borough by putting on shows in Ton. So judging me, I'll have you all. So Denali, getting back on point. I put funeral dress arachnid. I remember the extra eyes on her head. You could see the edges of them look terrible.
When you open up, she had like the spider webbing.
Yeah, I mean, it must have taken all of 5 minutes, right?
I liked it.
I liked it. It was okay. It wasn't special.
She's reminding me at the moment of who went home the week before last in UK. What was her name? The spotty dress.
Kerry Valentine.
Yeah, she reminds me of her.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
That's the just everything that she's.
Maybe Denali should go too.
Yes. She's she's forgettable in my eyes, and
Yeah.
I do apologize, Nolly, but it is
You're not
just
standing out, chicken.
no,
Yeah.
you're not.
You want to go to the final now.
Yeah, she'll win it. She'll win it.
It's
She'll get a
win.
crown.
And we'll be like, what the fuck? Maybe there's some amazing thing to come. We don't know. Who knows? Then you had Rose. And I've written bathroom mat because she just looked like a bathroom mat. What is Rose? Love chicken. A, you look a bit like a young Simon Cowell out of drag. Just want to put that out there. And B, why is everything you've done for weeks got Tool in it? Why are you so obsessed with Tool? Like it's 1922, you know.
Ruffles
yeah.
and Tool.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Don't get it.
No. And it just looked like, she turned down the runway. I was like, Paul, it looks like a bathroom mat. I genuinely would step on that getting out of the shower. Maybe that's what you're into, chicken. I don't know.
If the black part was cream and the frilly part was green, you'd have a sandwich. Lettuce, bread.
Yeah. Bit of mayo in the middle.
Rose, that's your next project.
Yeah. Be a sandwich. For the hat. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So moving on. La Ree. I've put big necklace. Clearly the only thing that stood out for me. I know she had a big, and it was like proper, like, and there. I cannot remember anything. I can't remember her makeup.
Her makeup was very good, but then La Ree's makeup
generally is. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. I mean, I love La Ree. La Ree, I just want to go, come here, give me a clutch. But I don't know, I don't remember the dress.
I like her. I really do like her, but she needs to proportionate a bit better.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff she's been wearing lately has been really top heavy or bottom heavy. Yeah. And there's not like a balance.
No, and hasn't she got, I want to say she's got quite broad shoulders as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In this one, she was pulling down her dress, and I was like, that means your dress is too tight.
Yeah.
Even for a tight dress, that is too tight, because it was just rising up, and I was like, that's not a dress. That is now a sweater. It's not. It's no longer a dress.
You've worn a t-shirt, love.
Yes. Yeah. And not a good one. But
not
still.
a great one. It was a Georgia Asda special, if you're lucky. Which, you know, I've bought some good t-shirts in Georgia Asda, because you can get like Star Wars ones for like $9.99 or whatever, and that's great. But
problem is they always shrink.
Yeah,
they always shrink.
Always shrink. Everything shrinks in our tumble dryer. You should see me on a Monday morning putting my work trousers on. Oh, it's like a comedy act. They've gone back by Friday. They've gone back out to normal, but then of course they go back in the wash. Anyway, that's that. And finally, Simone, tassels and bra, and she did the classic Ru Black to My Roots. Now, let me tell you a story. So, RuPaul and I, not as personally, obviously, we've never met, but we go back a long way. Like, so I've told the story before on the channel if you want to go find it. But Ru was kind of a big deal the very first night I went out in a gay bar. It took me a while, but the only way I could track down Supermodel was to track down the album on cassette, Ask Your Mum and Dad Kids, and I had to order it in I think it was like either Our Price or WH Smith, and I tried.
Ask Your Mum or Dad.
Yeah, I tried several different record shops. Again, Ask Your Mum and Dad what a record shop was. You know, that's kind of coming back, but it came in and they could only get it on tape. They couldn't get it on CD, and I was a bit gutted about that, because I was kind of just migrated away from cassettes at that point, or tapes as we called them. And the first song on side 2, because yes, you had to take it out and turn it over to play the other side, was Black to My Roots, and it is basically Ru's dedication to his mum, who ran a salon, and it's all about life in the salon. It's a real funky track, and it was released as a single in the States, and so the hair Simone wore is from that video. So it's proper old school Ru, and I think that was a very clever thing to do. But I'm not sure, apart from the hair, the rest of the outfit was any good, because I can't really remember it.
I actually know I actually get the whole outfit now, because the bra and the skirt was made out of weaving hair. like that they use in, you know, in African and Caribbean hair.
Yeah. So the full,
like dreads. It was all made of that. And now I get it, because you said that his mum was, you know, hairstylist, hairdresser.
yeah.
And yeah, she made it all out of hair.
And, you know,
like,
in America in those days, and they, I mean, you know, as Rue put it himself, they were pop. You know, she struggled to bring up those three girls and that little boy, that fabulous little boy. He probably wasn't that little, just Rue. But you know, and I can imagine it was a very much a community. So you know, it would have been mostly sort of African American customers she had, I would guess. I don't know that. But you know, if you think of Saru's like more or less 10 years older than us, so you're talking in the 60s, I'd say in a poor area, it was, you were barely out of segregation in some areas, you know, stuff like that. You know, that's the time you're talking about. So I'd imagine it was a lot of sort of, you know, black women were her clique and her customers and all the rest of it. So there'd have been a certain like vibe to it, I guess. But it's, I mean, track the song down and give it a listen is the best advice I could give people. I think if you listen to the song, especially now after what Tom's just said, which I didn't catch on to, I think you would find it would be another one of those ones where you'll go back and find levels in the outfit. So I'm going to just have a little look or find some pictures or whatever, because I think it might be cleverer than it got credit for.
But equally though, that's the kind
He's explaining.
The kind of flip of that is exactly because, as I say, to get that kind of detail from sort of Simone's, I mean, I love the styling of Simone's outfit. I thought it was very clever. Obviously, they made the sort of announcement that it was made from, you know, sort of black hair extension weave-ins type thing, which, you know, I get, you wouldn't necessarily be able to pick that up from viewing it on TV, because, you know, we've talked about how the picture quality kind of distort things like the color and all that sort of stuff. But there's absolutely no way, unless you knew all of that stuff about sort of Rue, the background, you would get any of that from that outfit. And yet Simone doesn't get red for that, whereas Utica got red for saying, oh, it's supposed to be your earrings, which she was fucking wearing.
They were there in front of you. The clue was there.
It's nice. It is nice that we sort of gave each other information. So what I said to you, made you realize, and what you said to me was like, oh wow, I didn't really get it, and now I get it. But it wasn't a dress.
No.
It was a bikini.
It was like a bikini, wasn't it? Really? Yeah. I mean, because it was like triangle, like bra, if I remember rightly. Was it triangle?
And can I just say about her very, very, very shiny skin? I don't get it. I'm like, I know, like everybody, you know, you can love the color of your skin. You can love your skin. You can love how smooth it is. But she just looks sweaty all the time. And I'm like, just put a tissue on it. Like, I think powder yourself a little bit.
Probably like over moisturizing somewhere along the line. Of course, then you get under the camera, under those lights, and you know, we know what it's like from being on stage. I mean, believe you me, the theatre we perform in is a freezer. It's cold. They have to put they basically got a jet engine off a bloody aeroplane that tries to heat up the auditorium before the audience come in. It doesn't work. It's freezing in there. And we freeze our tits off in the dressing room, literally. And then you step out on stage under those lights, and I suddenly feel the sweat just starting to run down little creases in my nose, and thinking, oh, my makeup's going to run. A TV studio in Hollywood, I can't imagine it's the coldest place on earth somehow. So I don't know I don't know what part of America she's from, that maybe she's not used to the climate and the weather, so she paints differently. Do you know what I mean? If she's from like Alaska, I mean, not Alaska, but you know,
I think it's makeup. It's definitely makeup that she's applying to herself.
Right.
Because it's when she walks in the light, it's glistening. It's like glitter.
Right.
So
it's a look. It's like a bronzer effect.
Yeah, but it's coming across like she's smothered oil on herself, or she's sweaty. She got a sweaty back.
Just
but every time you watch her now, you will look at it and be like, oh.
I will
Sweaty
never not
Betty.
see her as a sweaty Betty again. And then I'll be thinking about, oh my God, that tuck is going to stink. Because, let's face it, you know, when they're not tucked, they get a bit sweaty in the wrong atmosphere. You start putting them places, child, that's not going to be a good look for anyone. Oh, actually, do you know, I've never thought about this. What do you suppose that workroom smells like at the end of the day?
Perfume, perfume, feet, and sweat.
I mean, you'd like to think it smells of like bananas and rainbows and babies, but I reckon,
Why baby?
I don't know, because babies smell nice. They're all like powdery and shit.
If you've ever been in Panto, at the end of the show, when everybody's getting dressed in the changing rooms, you're like, that's a new smell to clear my nose.
Why do you think I always just do loads of swanning around chatting to everyone still in costume? Because I let everyone else clear out.
Just to air out yourself. You're like, hi.
It's partly I'm in a nice theatre. The audience have cleared. The air's starting to move. The temperature's plummeted 17 degrees. And I can just slightly air areas. Bear in mind,
But yeah, that's how I'm expecting it to smell. The workroom.
Yeah, okay. I think you're probably right. I think it's somewhere between like stale makeup and a gymnasium.
Or yeah, like, do you know when you go into like a school gym?
Yeah.
And you can just smell like rubber and sweat.
Yeah. That weird smell of the weird smell that I associate with the sound. You know, like a bouncing basketball makes that squeak.
Yeah.
I get the smell and the sound together. It's weird. Which is more about me than anything else. So there we are. So that was this week's Drag Race. Wow. As per usual, we wandered a hell of a lot, but you know, I like to think it's what people come for. I don't think they come for the actual critiques anymore. They just come for our random shit.
Oh, if you did come back, so sorry.
It was just Paul's face, and he was like, "Oh,
there we go."
Remember what we were saying before about how in every good comedy act, there's a straight man and then there's a funny man.
You calling me a straight man?
No,
Oh,
okay.
Just checking.
Oh, you can be any further from straight.
I know. Well, yeah. Well, I'll leave that.
Appearance is straight, but
well, if people want to read the interludes in my book, porno biography, available now on Amazon, there are stories, and then the rest of the book is whole other stories. Actually, it sold 3 copies this week, so I think I should mention it in more videos. I
still haven't read it. I don't expect to read it either. I'm expecting to be pure filth.
It is absolutely. Well, it's called porno biography.
Well, there you go.
The clue really is in the title, and I don't hold back on anything. And it is all true stories. I mean, I may have had to take a vague memory and embellish the story around it, sure. But everything in there is a bottom line grain of truth.
And book names. Book names, you know, where you change the name from like Barry Fiddle to Barry Biddle.
Yeah. Well, basically, I've avoided names completely as much as possible. I've tried to keep timings vague-ish, but it's not always possible. And I've tried to keep locations not too obvious. But I think if you are familiar with any of the places I have lived, you'd spot it. But it's basically, I don't know, monkeys if people know what I've been up to, so otherwise I wouldn't have written a book about it. But obviously I've got to kind of think, well, there are people in my life who've not chosen to air all their dirty laundry on Amazon. So it's kind of steps to protect them to a degree.
And I would just like to say that we have reached a new record. We have now massively digressed at the end of a video when we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
There is literally nothing that we cannot go off on a tangent on. Nothing.
It's just us. We just bring out like different stories in each other, and we just babble and babble.
Yeah. Next week, laundry detergents.
He joked. It will be
It's because now I've said it, I'll make it happen. Right. So yes, so do join us next week to find out what was the next time. Was it that interesting? I don't even remember it.
Oh, it was Bossy Rossi.
Bossy Rossi. Yeah. So interest. Actually, while we are still going, no Todrick so far.
Funny that.
They won't be going back to Todrick.
I wouldn't have thought so. There's been like too much. I think it's been well, as we said.
He hasn't paid his back.
You said that. I said he hasn't got time to appear because he was too busy answering emails from our previous lodger who was writing to him saying, "I've bought this off you. Where is it?" Because he was always saying, "It's not arrived. It's not arrived." And I was saying, "Look, you've bought something direct from Todrick. It's going to take a while. He's not got, he clearly isn't in a position where he's got people that do this for him at the moment."
Voiced up to him.
And it was lockdown and stuff. I'm like, and it's going to take a while to come from his garage in America, And I imagine there must be lots of people going, "Oh, I've bought a T-shirt from Todrick Hall," or whatever it is. Just chill. If it's not here in 6 months' time, drop him an email. No, every day. Where is it? It's the post bean. Is my T-shirt here? You bought it yesterday. The best one in the world. Even if I'd bought it back personally for you, I couldn't get here in 24 hours from Los Angeles. Hilarious. So that's why Todrick's not on it. He's got too many fans complaining their stuff hasn't arrived in 3 seconds flat.
Yeah.
So until next week. Bye.
Bye.